5 hours yesterday. First, she spoke before a House committee, then the Senate. Here to help us break down what was learned or not learned from the hearings is Joe Barnes. He's a fellow at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy. So, Mr. Barnes, thanks for being with us this morning. As an expert on the subject, I want to ask you to answer Secretary Clinton's question. What difference does it make at this point?
Politically? None. There might be some information developed in upcoming weeks and months that could alter procedures within the State Department. But in terms of the politics of it, I see this is just the end of an attempt to make it a political issue that's eventually failed. There
have been attacks throughout time at consulates around the world in which Americans were injured or taken hostage or, various things like that. Why does this one seem to be striking a nerve? Was it because of Susan Rice's round of talk shows where they had the narrative at that time of this video? Well, although there's been a lot of attacks, there hasn't been a lot of ambassadors killed. I think the last ambassador killed was over 25 years ago. So it is objectively a big deal. Secondly, I think the very confusing circumstances immediately after the killings led to a lot of questions being asked. And, of course, it occurred during a political campaign. And so, not surprisingly, became a political issue, which is not, by the way, anything sinister or pernicious. In your experience, was her testimony and the emotion with which she presented her testimony, was that unusual in hearings like this? To the extent that she broke up when she discussed the dead Americans, yes. But that's something that rarely comes up in these sort of hearings. So it is sort of an outlier in a way, yeah. What do you think we learned, if anything, from Secretary Clinton's statements yesterday? I don't think we learned anything particularly new, but we did learn some things, and one thing is very clear, which was there was a series of very, very bad decisions that were made regarding security prior to the attacks. Moving forward, do you think that there are going to be changes made as far as how we conduct business overseas because of this? Or do you think that this is just an isolated incident? I think there's going to be some changes made. I think changes, as she mentioned, the changes are already underway. But the truth of the matter is diplomacy is a dangerous business nowadays. And although I hate to say it, there will be attacks in the future and there will be deaths in the future. I want to switch gears just briefly a little bit because you have expertise in the energy field as well. We recently had an attack in Algeria in which Texans were killed, a couple of local gentlemen as well. Has life gotten more dangerous for Americans, not only statesmen and ambassadors, but American employees who are working overseas? I would say on balance probably yes, but it depends on the country. It's probably less dangerous in some areas and more dangerous in others. I think it's probably more dangerous in Arab countries in general. Sounds like it. All right. Well, Mr. Barnes, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your expert opinion on the testimony yesterday. It definitely was memorable, Melissa.